Every year, thousands of tourists, during the long nights of a Northern Hemisphere winter, travel to Scandinavia. They then witness the Northern Lights, or as frequently called, Aurelius Borealis. I have a feeling I butchered that pronunciation. Scandinavia is not the only place where you can see these lights. North America is an option, as is Russia, and although quite different, Tasmania, the southern state of Australia, offers the Southern Lights. These lights offer an unpredictable, cosmic experience where the sky burns green, purple and gold. Yet, these northern lights have their own symbolism, mythology, history and importance. I must understand this. This is done by analysing Norse writings, Scandinavian art, travel blogs, Roman history writings, and even children's literature. In this video, I will consider what these sources teach us about the Northern Lights. I'm Madeleine Rose-Jones, and I help you understand the world through fiction. Subscribe for frequent videos about history, literature, and culture. Welcome to Snowy Fictions. Historical perspectives. The Roman philosopher Seneca has this to say about the Northern Lights. They're a charismata, where a certain portion of the sky opens and gaping displays the flame as in a porch. The colours also of all these are many. Certain are of the brightest red, some are of a fitting and light flame colour, some of a white light, others shining, some steadily in yellow without eruptions or rays. A relevant myth comes from ancient Greece, with the goddess Aurora representing the dawn. It is said by some that Aurora caused the Northern Lights herself, almost like opening the gates of heaven. This curious blending of planet Earth with the wider cosmos and the afterlife is surely remarkable. It also feeds into the wonder of the Northern Lights. A modern example comes from the 19th century travel writer Ernest W. Hawkes, who suggests that the spirits pass to the true heavens. To paraphrase George R. R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, us travellers can look at the stars and see different things. However, the historical sources suggest a universalism towards the Northern Lights, where they suggest something remarkable that exists and persists throughout time and space. The many approaches towards the Northern Lights, whether mythological, scientific, artistic or cultural, indicate their dynamic nature. You can approach and learn about the Northern Lights in so many different ways. While researching this video, I was astounded by the intense range and variety and perspectives about the Northern Lights. In some sources, these lights symbolised terror, akin to burning soldiers. Others depicted the Northern Lights as wondrous forces, as we can see from many scientific and travel writers. Perhaps this is part of the Northern Lights' power. They are difficult to summarise, difficult to simplify. I wonder what future historians will say about the Northern Lights. Norse and Scandinavian culture. Earlier in this video, I mentioned that the Northern Lights can be seen from North America and Russia. This is certainly true. However, I must discuss the Northern Lights from the Scandinavian perspective, especially within the context of their history, mythology, and literature. For the Scandinavians, this varies between countries. In Greenland, the Northern Lights were seen as the dancing spirits of dead children. However, women in Iceland saw the lights as assistants during the pain of childbirth. The Vikings, by contrast, celebrated the Northern Lights. These celestial illuminations depicted the Valkyries' armour while leading warriors to Odin. Of course, these tales and legends are only a small aspect of Scandinavia. To understand the home of the Northern Lights, we must understand Scandinavian culture, art and literature, particularly from the modern era. There are certain stereotypes of Scandinavia, such as its high quality of life, the loneliness, the cold, Protestant influences, and an emphasis on minimalism in design and literature. There's also an association many have with stability and slow life. Frequently, I see Scandinavian countries top lists about the best countries for education, work-life balance, and quality of life. And I find this culture kind of reflects as well as distorts these perceptions. An example is legendary filmmaker Ingmar Bergman. His films, especially Persona, as well as Fanny and Alexander, are careful and delicate meditations, interested in studying characters and motivations. A unique aspect of Scandinavian culture, to me, is how dark and disturbing motifs slip through. This can mean violence or disorder. A famous example, and one I quite like citing, is Lars von Trier. The brilliant brains and controversial ones behind movies such as Breaking the Waves, Melancholia, and Dogville. Returning to the Northern Lights, part of their wonder stems from their quietness. There's also a notion of something within the Northern Lights, of a breakthrough into Earth, like a distant force trying to manifest within our reality. That's the treasure of the Northern Lights. It communicates us, the viewer, to our unconscious, the unsaid, and the unknown. Clearly, the Northern Lights are a spectacular natural wonder and one in tune with Scandinavian literature and culture. A Child's Eyes. Philip Pullman's His Dark Material series has certainly made an impression throughout the Anglosphere. The bombastic commentary of anti-religion, specifically his sour attitude towards Catholicism, can sometimes overtake the more subtle thoughts and commentary on free will, creation, power, and authority. The first entry, The Northern Lights or the Golden Compass, earns my interest here. Before Lyra ventures north, we encounter Lord Asriel. In a meeting, he theorizes the Northern Lights as a place of hidden knowledge, one that equips us in understanding creation, nature, God. This is called dust. Here, Pullman combines the natural lights with the overall scope of the Arctic. This matters, and Lyra will undergo adventure and mystery where she discovers truth and knowledge. The implication being, the Northern Lights will help us understand not only the world we live in, but human nature itself. This is a very old idea. It spans antiquity, the Middle Ages, and the Renaissance. In this time, many theologians theorize the universe as a combination of God, the stars, the human individual, the afterlife, and earthly nature. One cannot exist without the other. This is a point University College London Professor Sophie Page makes in her British Library book Astrology in Medieval Manuscripts, where she cleverly demonstrates the dynamic, interconnected nature of the late medieval universe. Pullman may heavily disagree with that, but he does use a vital, important idea from it. The stars and skies, after all, can guide us and provide our journeys with vital information. The Northern Lights and the Arctic are a place of enlightenment, pain, the sort that comes from adolescence, hidden knowledge, and betrayal. His Dark Materials offers fascinating insight into the Northern Lights, and one that is difficult to forget. Travel. One interesting development in the last 50 years is international travel and digital media. On YouTube and Instagram, you can discover vlogs and pictures from a variety of travellers who are drawn to these Scandinavian landscapes. I'm quite fond of these videos, and it's for one reason. These bloggers express their wonder at these sites. Sure, it may seem a bit contrived and acting for the camera at occasion, but the Northern Lights are truly awe-inspiring. They've fascinated soldiers, authors, scientists, and leaders for centuries. We can add travel writers and bloggers to this list too. Yet there's another angle about the Northern Lights, one I think is rather fascinating, and it's their unpredictable nature. There is no guarantee a tourist can see them. Many tour companies, such as G Adventures and Intrepid, are upfront about this unpredictability and do not guarantee that you'll see the Northern Lights. However, they frame it in a really interesting way. It's like a hunt, or a scavenger hunt, similar to a pirate searching for treasure. While legally necessary and probably a bit annoying for the company, I find this adds to the charm of the Northern Lights. There's a predictability and order to much of European tourism, especially in Scandinavia, and while that's for a very good reason, I don't mind the occasional spontaneity or uncertainty. Perhaps these bloggers are seeing the Northern Lights the way the Romans or the Norse did. Either way, it doesn't seem like an easy to forget experience. Hence why, for centuries more, the Northern Lights will provoke journeys, philosophy, literature, and more speculation. I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe. I also run the literary blog, Snowy Fictions, where you'll find articles on topics relevant to this video. I also have a mailing list and many creative writing courses which may interest you. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.